Hey everybody, it's Hannah from Salary Transparency and welcome to our new show, The Break Room. Here, money, careers, and conversations intersect. We're at the Capital One Cafe in Glendale, and today our panel is moving from behind the camera to in front of the camera. These are the unsung heroes putting in the work behind the scenes on your favorite movies, TV shows, and everything in between. Our panel will offer an insider's perspective on issues like access to opportunities, pay disputes, and how to get started and grow in the entertainment industry.
Hey, I'm Nick. I'm 40 years old. I live in Los Angeles, and I've been directing for 14 years. Annually, I expect to make between $170,000 and $180,000, and that's kind of a base salary plus side projects that might come up.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm 33 years old. I live in LA, California. I have been a wardrobe stylist for the last 7 years. I would say my typical rate is about $1,000 to $1,200 a day. At the end of the year, my take home is probably close to $100K.
My name is Carlos Medina. I'm a director of photography based here in Los Angeles. I've been working professionally in the film industry for about 12 years. My go-to day rate at the moment without equipment is about $2,000 to $2,500. And at the end of the year, I would say I'm bringing in like a little over 100,000.
Hello, I'm Liz Weibel. I'm 34 years old. I live in Los Feliz, California. It's right in Los Angeles. I am a production designer, and I've been a production designer for about 10 years at this point. I would expect to be paid at least $1,000 a day or more.
Oh, what are the biggest misconceptions about your work? I'll say as a director that it's the day of filming. It's all fun. I think a lot of people see directors and it's the day of filming and it's, you just show up and you tell people what to do and you kind of like, you have your shots. And like I said,
you can't leave set the whole time.
It's the prep. It's the pitch you did. It's the nights you stayed awake thinking about it. It's the building your team. It's the working with the talent. It's all the things. If you do the prep right, then yeah, the day of should be super fun, and it usually is, and it's a great time, and everyone's, you're then making the decisions, the day decisions, which is a different kind of work, but that's all gravy stuff, to be honest. That's the fun stuff when you've done the prep.
People who do not work on set as of now, probably think that life is so glitz and glam. It's a lot of being inside a truck and moving furniture and being doing a lot of sweeping and making things clean and doing a lot of shining.
The dusting.
Lots of dusting.
To get off the fingerprints.
Get off the stuff. A lot of greeking out logos and labels and having the exact piece of material to do that so it doesn't conflict with the camera angle and this. It is fun, which is why I do it, but I also think I like the pain. She's
a masochist.
But
no pain, no gain.
Misconceptions is that working on set is fucking hard. And it is not glitz and glam unless you are, and even if you're an A-list actor who's on set and has a trailer, that's not glitz and glam either.
No.
It's all intense, and it's sometimes you can work in I worked legitimately in an old slaughterhouse for this zombie video game thing.
I mean, tight.
And we were under this building.
That's awesome.
Going down
Sounds
the
like a dream
shaft.
job.
Yeah. For 3 days. I came out of there gray as could all be, so depressed. My therapist had a lot
you had a demon in you, girl.
Blood all over the walls, and they were all right, chop, chop, eat your bacon.
I think for stylists, I think the biggest misconception is that we're all huge bitches, which is partially true. I, however, am not a huge bitch. I totally believe in being really kind and really sweet on set. However, obviously don't cross me. But what I will say is that I think a lot of people think as a stylist, asking us to literally make magic happen, which I know we've all been asked. Yeah. Ridiculous things like that. And again, I think just tying it back to the physical labor, the physical labor is insane. I hate when I show up to set and PAs aren't do you need help? I'm don't worry about it. I'm in the gym. I can carry it all. Yeah, because it's a lot. It's a lot of heavy lifting.
Film production's like
Literally.
75% carrying
Literally.
heavy shit.
Yes.
Starting
yes.
out,
I'm like a furniture mover.
So if you're interested in being in this industry, start lifting.
Because of all the things that we're saying right now, like people might watch this and be like, "Ooh, that sounds really tough." When you do a good job, there is no better feeling than you get when you've nailed the job. Everyone loves it. You've all been in this thing together for a week or two or however month or whatever. That high of doing such a good job on this job is like worth all of the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into it.
Yeah,
Right?
totally.
Yeah.
How is your pay structured? Do you operate as an independent contractor? Me in particular, yes, I do operate as an independent contractor. I normally get a day rate. Included in the day rate are prep days, fitting days, shoot days, and wrap days. Depending on the job, it can be anywhere from like 3 days, or it could be in upwards of like 2 weeks. You know, a lot of the times, I'm sure we can all agree, we find ourselves working for free. We've got to take a call here. We've got to make a mood board there. We've got to, you know, do a deck. We've got to, yes. You know, it's a give and take, I think, when it comes to pay.
on every project, there's a budget.
Yeah.
So you're kind of working backwards from that. And as a director that's also produced a bunch, that's interesting because you are looking at a number and says, okay, you have $30,000, you have $10,000, you have $2,500 to make a thing. We've done music videos and things together that had a $2,000 budget, and there are things that had a $50,000 budget. And I've hired him to be my DP on both of those things. And it's a sliders, you're moving sliders, right? And then you're talking to other departments and you're like, I can give you 3 days here, I can give you 2, and and it's like, what's hard is, I didn't make that first number. I didn't make the budget number, but now I got to work into it, right? And early on, there was times where, I remember some of my first gigs, it was like, we're going to give you $3,000, and I get to keep, as the director, what I don't spend.
Yeah. Don't you love an
those are
all
my
in?
faves.
Love an all in.
So it's okay. Well, now I got to, so I'm going to pay my DP this. I'm going to hold the boom myself on a
Right.
C-stand.
Yep.
Now the audio is a little wobbly because I'm not hiring somebody. I'm plugging into camera and I'm doing this. And that's tough because now the client is like, well, this isn't as good as I was like, well,
Exactly.
we
You gotta
don't
pray
know.
for it.
So I'll tell people, I'll be like, hey, this is the number I can give you. And if you
Yes.
don't want to do this, I understand, and that's fine.
Yes.
It won't make me not reach out to you next time. People got to get their worth.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as like being in the independent contractor and working on a day rate, like every producer is probably gonna have a different day rate for you. But like I have learned to be like, this is my day rate. If we do need to come down at all, let's have a discussion about it before we just like jump the gun. And normally when you give them a higher day rate, they'll only come down a little bit and then you're smooth sailing. But maybe cut that. Don't give them any tips. No, you have to fight for yourself, and like, you know, the amount of money that I feel like I get paid is like, it's good, but it is not nearly enough for how much I am working and for how much
100%.
passion I put into making sure that the vase is perfectly on the table and the flowers match this. Like, there is so much thought that goes behind that one plate that you see on the table. At least like from my point of view, I'm like, oh my God, it took me 2 days to find that plate. And it took me all this time to do all these things. So like, when you are getting paid, it's like, yeah, like you might look at these day rates and be like, wow, that's a lot of money. It's like, it's never enough because like it is a lot of work. And like, that's why there was a full strike last year for different departments. You know, it's like, it can always be more.
If you're in a union, then there is actually a structure and defined things and all that kind of great stuff. And it starts to feel probably like enough.
Yeah, you're like, oh, wow.
And that's part of the discrepancy too of the kind of, there's a little bit of a haves, have-nots kind of to it as well. When you're in those industries, it's structured, you have union support, you have people, you have representation fighting for you. It's a big, big difference when it comes to how that works.
I mean, that was, I think, my ultimate goal when I first started styling. I was like, I need to be in the union.
And it changes, you know, when you're first starting off. Like I PA'd, I was making $150 a day in Los
Which
Angeles.
is minimum wage. You basically make minimum
And this was
wage.
2012, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was what was expected.
But you're the first one there last to leave.
Yes, exactly.
A PA's rate.
But at the time, I didn't have the worth or the confidence that I do now. But to your point, you got to be really good at negotiating, and you get there, right? And I think you have nothing to lose
You
by.
get more brave. You get more brave.
You get braver
as
because
time goes
you know
on.
your worth, and you may not need that job necessarily. But one thing I like is even if they say no because you're too expensive, a lot of times that producer will see you differently. They'll be like, oh, well, there's two ways. They'll be like, oh, this guy thinks he's too good or whatever. But some will be like, you know what? Okay, this job wasn't right for him. When I get a better budget, I'm going to hit up that person. And if it weren't for that little like pushback, they would have never seen you that way. So.
And those are good producers and those are bad producers.
There's good producers.
And that's what you just outlined right there.
But you know, I love that meme where it's like, what's your day rate? Well, what's your budget? You know, and that's always important. I think it's sometimes taboo in society to be like, what's your budget? But if someone's hiring you, ask them what their budget is, and from the beginning. And you know, even if it's just a ballpark, like at least you know. You know, and to this day, like my rate fluctuates depending what I'm doing.
100%.
Do you need to move to Hollywood to make it in the entertainment industry? So yeah,
Yes and no.
I think no overall. It definitely helps. I mean, to me, the big word is entertainment industry. So whatever that might mean to whom, I think it helps if you're in an entertaining city. You know, I mean. Do you need to be in Los Angeles to be a cinematographer? Absolutely not. You can do this in Tucson, Arizona if you wanted to. But here, there's a lot of opportunities, great weather. It's a very international city, a very international hub. I think that's one of the underrated things of Hollywood. It's just so much is happening here. And from music to filmmaking to, I mean, you name it, LA, it's just a very cultural city too. So it's not to say you can't do it in New York or Miami,
Atlanta,
Vancouver. I mean, Mexico City, shoot, you could be in Europe. Like,
And I feel like if you're near like some of the main hubs too, like if you're close to Chicago or Atlanta, New York City, like those different types of places that have like a pretty booming entertainment industry, that's good. But like I think living in like, you know, middle America, it's a little more difficult there's not that much going on out there. But it kind of feels like, I feel like since COVID, like more cities are popping up with more entertainment offices or media centers or like a lot more working from home. So you can go live in Montana and then work, you know, on set. Even Hawaii, a lot of my friends have moved to Oahu and they're doing a couple things on there, but then they fly back to LA and, you know.
Yeah.
Well, you said
Work
something
on-
very important, which is career.
Career.
What's your career goal? Right? I
Right,
think
yeah,
if you
true.
want to do hair and
sense.
makeup and you live in Tucson, Arizona, you can do hair and makeup and
Yeah,
live in you can't. No, but you can, right? But I think that entertainment industry part of it is interesting. Is like,
broad.
are you trying to work on commercials and TV shows and films? If
Yeah.
that's your career goal, sure. That's a difference thing, right? And again, like you said, there's New York, Atlanta, Vancouver, Austin, international.
if you want to make TikTok videos and that's your cap, you
Right.
can do that anywhere.
Anywhere.
I mean,
Literally. That's
that's-
exactly what I
yeah.
was just going to say.
Some of my best day rates are doing TikTok videos. I'm telling you.
I've shot a decent amount for TikTok.
She helped me with one. And yeah, I'm not a TikTok girly either. But I will say for a stylist, not to be like this, but yes, you need to be in Hollywood. You do. Like, you just do because, of course, you can do styling any other places. But literally, like, I've even worked in New York. And, oh, my God.
Talk about the physical. Talk about the physical.
Oh,
in New York,
you
it's
request
time-
an Uber,
time.
right? Uber only has 3 stops allowed. So then you go to your 1, 2, 3. At your 3rd stop, you take everything out the car, request another Uber.
And that's if you're getting reimbursed for the Uber. Because if you're not,
Yes.
you're hopping on that
Yes,
subway.
Yes,
with
I
all
mean,
your-
at this time I was
Yes,
still like,
yes,
good.
yes.
But like, I mean, just that in itself.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? And I'm by myself, right? I'm by myself carrying all these bags. And then my boss is like, don't get robbed. And I'm like, bitch, help me then.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I would love that. I would love not to get robbed. I would love that.
Is really, I would. But, you know, so I just feel like LA in general, if you want to be in entertainment, I think in particular, like film, TV, fashion, music, I feel like that, I do feel like you need to be in LA. It's even tough in New York, honestly. But like you said, it's the end goal.
You know, there are Austins and Nashvilles, and you can be busy and you can be a big fish in a small pond. But at the end of the day, LA, the best talent is here and the best filmmakers are in the city compared to anywhere else in the world. And I think this is true too. There are more artists, people who claim to be artists in Los Angeles than there is anywhere else on the planet. So that's musicians, stylists, writers, anything, comedians, more so than a Paris or a New York. You know, so if you want to breathe and live it, this is definitely the spot, to your point. So.
Yeah.
What do you love and find challenging about your job?
All of our jobs are very challenging in very different ways. My job in particular is really challenging because I'm dealing with somebody's body, and so you're dealing with somebody's insecurities, and which in turn can be very challenging. You can look at a person and be like, wow, you look fabulous, but that person is thinking God knows what. So really, I'm a therapist along with being a stylist, and honestly, babe, the rate isn't enough. Not for both. I'm never the final decision maker. You know what I mean? I can put my input in and I can say, I like this and I like it with this and I like it on this person. But at the end of the day, usually the director or the client and maybe sometimes people in production are the final decision makers. So that I think is one of the most challenging things. But luckily, I'm a pretty sweet talker. What I love about my job is when people come to me and tell me that I have made them feel a certain way. You know, if I have made them feel really confident in their skin, if I've opened their eyes to just being like, I never thought, and I know it sounds so silly, but it's like, I never thought I could pull something off like this. I never thought I could wear pants like this. Never thought I could wear a jacket like this. And it sounds silly, but when we look good, we feel good. And that's a huge part of this industry, you know, is feeling good. And that to me is what I love the most about my job, is making people feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, filmmaking in general is challenging. I think it just comes with it. The odds are always kind of against you. You're always lacking a little bit of money, and something's always gonna change up dramatically. And so it's just problem solving constantly, being ready to adapt. And you know, DP or director of photography, cinematographer, guy behind the camera, usually works very closely with the director. So you're just protecting his vision and making it a reality. And usually in a technical way or a practical way. And you know, that's a lot of pressure sometimes. And you have to manage a team of the gaffer, the lighting technician, the camera assistants, the DIT, who usually does the downloading of the footage. You're talking to the production designer. And then you usually have the assistant director who's keeping you on time, just breathing down your neck like, hey, you need to do this in the next 5 minutes. So it's just like juggling a lot, but I love it. You know, I don't think I did all the time. It's something you kind of learn and you get good at and you gain more confidence. But I think that's also what makes it fun. I'm collabing constantly with others, and we're creating art. I get to travel a whole lot for my job, and that is just incredible. I'm a big traveler, and I've been all over the world because of this. So the opportunities is just incredible.
Yeah. No, I would say traveling, love. Working with my friends, love. Meeting new friends, love. Challenging. Too many cooks in the kitchen. Everybody has an opinion, and everyone's opinion is the most important opinion. But then yours is also the most important opinion. But then it's not, and they change it up. In 2021, we filmed out in Joshua Tree, and like it was a quick. Like I had 2 weeks to prep. Week and a half to prep a full movie out in the desert. It was a tough one. Monday we get to set, first day, and there's a windstorm, a giant tornado windstorm. All of my set dressing flew.
Lawn chairs in the air.
Lawn chairs in the air, pillows hundreds of miles away at that point. Production tent in hundreds of feet in the air. Half of the stuff I got destroyed. Day one. So like that's challenging when you're just so sad all the time because it's so freaking hard. And it's, you know, just so sad about it. And no, it is tough. And like not having enough time and money to do these things, that's what happens when, even if you are like having such a good time doing a low budget indie or whatever, when you don't have enough time, those are the things that happen. You lose all the stuff that you've already like done because of poor planning.
Yeah, I think it's also very easy today to be insular and by yourself in creating content, and then you're not learning that stuff. You're not learning how to be treated on set, how to treat others on set. You're not learning to communicate. You're not learning to learn. Yeah. And that's tough because if you're looking to build, eventually you're going to be in those sets, in those rooms, and you're going to need to know how to do that, navigate that.
One of the first art department jobs I worked on, I was an art PA, and I was working with like some of my favorite people in the art department crew, like very good homies of mine. And the director threw a metal fork at the PA after he had given him the wrong utensil. And I was like, oh. And like watching that type of thing. And it was like, you guys, it was like the worst, dumbest commercial ever. Like it was for something that doesn't exist anymore, you know? And yeah, this director just like treated this poor PA so horribly, and I felt. First of all, I thought I was like, I cannot believe that I just saw that. And then the PA left and he walked off set, and I was like, yes, like he was gone. So it was nice to see that, but man, that was.
Yeah, and for those that are
like I
watching,
shoved
we
that
all
down.
laughed at that, not because it's funny, but because
No, 'cause
that's called a trauma laugh.
It's just
Exactly, 'cause
we've all been there, we've all seen it before.
I could not
so we're all
believe my
laughing, not because
100%.
that's funny. It's because we've probably all seen things like that, and you.
That's a trauma bond, you guys.
Yay.
The
That's-
entertainment
yeah.
industry.
That's super real, especially because when you're young and you're PA and you don't know what's normal on a set.
No
And
one really
so-
teaches you, literally.
And
They
there's
just kind of throw you
a
in there.
strange hierarchy to filmmaking. There still is, where certain positions have certain roles and there's just certain expectations. Even my time out here in LA, I feel like it's starting to change, especially as millennials start getting more leadership roles. The dynamics have changed on set. It's less like tense. It's less like I don't want to say military, but less like.
It totally
It's
is.
it's like I think
It's way more
we've come a
chill.
long way just in the last 10 years of just expectations and how we treat others on set.
Unless you've been there, like you don't really know. But like a lot of the times in these leadership roles, we're asking for like very, this sounds so horrible, but like basic human needs. Give me 30 minutes to eat my lunch, please. Me and my assistant, because my assistant also needs to eat, and I so wish that I had that protection as an assistant, as an intern. We've done a lot of things that I think looking back, we were so hungry to make it that we were willing to do whatever. And now, I know I will say in the last year, I have really just been like, no, I can't do it. No, I don't have enough time. No, wait, do you have more money?
And how good does that feel?
So good. So good. But I'm just like, I've been in this for a while now, and like, finally, I finally got the courage to be like, no.
My biggest takeaway from the panel is that this is super valuable. Like, when I was coming up, there wasn't a lot of things I could look at to kind of figure out and help navigate me through this space. I think the value of hearing other stories is immeasurable. Whether it's a personal thing or a career thing, just knowing that there's other people that have been like you and seen like you, it means everything.
A lot of times when we're on set, we don't get the opportunity really to chat with each other and like catch up about things outside of the current project we're really working on. So it's kind of nice to just be able to chat with the director, the DP. I almost never talk to the DP or a cinematographer. Honestly, as the stylist, I mostly work alongside the director. Sometimes just like sitting and venting and knowing you're not alone is really nice.
Love the panel. Kind of forget that everyone on set with you is like working in their own little world. Everyone's job is really hard, and like being able to work together and enjoy each other's company is the best.
It was great to just hear from others and kind of share similar experiences. It was a great reminder speaking to everyone that like the problems I deal with or the emotions I go through aren't unique to myself. There's a whole community out here going through very similar things, and everyone's experience is valuable, and it's cool to hear from other positions that work on the film set to get their point of view.
What a phenomenal panel. There were so many things we learned about the different roles within the entertainment industry, that each role on a set is equally important and brings different value to making sure that the overall vision is executed. What I saw from the panel, my biggest takeaways were how passionate every single one of them was about their work, even though they all did something incredibly different on set. But at the same time, they all work together to create the same thing. So it's really cool to see that synergy, but difference in the type of work that they do. The other big takeaway was that a lot of them talked about how important networking and word of mouth was within their roles. There's not really an Indeed or Glassdoor for the entertainment industry. A lot of them get jobs through the connections that they have or have made in the past. So it's really interesting how important networking is to all of them, and really says a lot about how you can succeed in the industry.